to Shākāt. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Now I know what Bill Gates feels like. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
We're live. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the official launch of Shākāt Journal, the magazine and online magazine. Shākāt in Southern Shoshone means summer, and it is a time of new birth and new ideas, and in this case, a new generation. They're called millennials. Tonight we're going to begin first off by, as we do, by acknowledging the Kwamlandan and Ta'an Quechan traditional territory, who we are in their Kwamlandan Cultural Center by the Yukon River in downtown Whitehorse, for all of those tuning in on Facebook. And we'll begin our festivities this evening with an opening prayer by Elder Betsy Jackson. Betsy?
Creator, we humbly come before you to give our thanks and appreciation. We thank you for all the help and guidance you have provided us. We thank you for all the blessings and bounty that brought us to this day. We are grateful for trials and tribulations, for they help us to know a difference. As these young people launch their project, we ask for your blessing on that, because these young people are the leaders to our future. These young people and the work they are doing is a connection for all, using all the different media available, especially in this new age world where everything is technical. We thank you that we can have the ability to carry this project through. And we ask that you come into this room and bless each and every one, and all those out there, that they know there are people who care. And this project is so vital to that. We give thanks and appreciation also for the help and guidance you provide us through the four sacred directions, through the grandfathers and the grandmothers, and through Mother Earth and all her kingdoms. We are grateful for all that help and guidance. And tonight, we just ask that you touch this project, and we already know that you have blessed it because it has already made a resounding effect on the people. See people looking at us differently, especially our youth. And we need that, Lord. We need that kind of help and guidance. And I just give thanks and appreciation that you have brought it this far, and that you watch it the rest of the way. Ganesh Chish, all my relations. Amen.
Thank you, Elder Betsy Jackson. Before we begin with our first speaker, I just wanted to say a few words, and I wanted to sort of put into context the launch of the magazine and the website. Normally, websites take minimum 6 months to be developed. There's a lot of work that goes into developing a website. There's a lot of testing that needs to take place. There's a lot of content that needs to be created. These kids built a website in 8 weeks. That's amazing. A big hand to the kids. They also took a magazine concept, the old Shākāt Journal, which looks like this, and created this. We're very, very proud of the dedication, of the long hours, of the vision that these young kids put towards this project. It's also really gratifying because I'm one of the old guard that worked on the original Shākāt magazine, and some of our speakers also are part of the old guard that worked on the magazine. So it's really, really nice to see this sort of a handoff, if you will, to a new generation. And we're hopeful that all those that are listening will help the Shākāt team grow and develop and become an amazing magazine and an amazing website for all millennials in the Yukon. So with that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker. She was a colleague of mine at one point in time when we worked in the news industry. She is now the chief of the Kwamandun First Nation, and I'd like to give a warm welcome to Chief Doris Bill.
Well, good evening, everyone. What an exciting night for our youth. Let's hear it for them. Masicho for having me here, and Shoni Thun to Elder Betsy Jackson for providing us with a prayer. We're truly honored to have you here with us this evening to observe part of your legacy being passed on to another generation. I would like to start this evening by expressing my appreciation to our youth for the incredible work they provided us all through the summer. There were some amazing projects throughout the territory, and we are very proud of you all and your many organizations for the work that you have done. In my view, being a youth is not simply described as a social category. It is a phase of life which everyone passes through, presenting unique opportunities for the individual to contribute to social change. Part of that change is why we are here tonight, to witness Yukon's newest youth initiative to reveal and launch the Shākāt Journal, the Change Project. It is also interesting that I stand before you, given I am one of a number of former staff members present here this evening, and some who are watching live on Facebook, that worked on the original Shākāt magazine. What is interesting, though, is how our lives can travel in full circle, returning us to a point in time that enables us to be a witness to an event that transforms part of our personal history, making it even bigger than what was originally envisioned. And if my heart is beating based on what I know of this project, which I have only previewed, I can only imagine how the original visionaries of the original Shākāt are feeling at this moment. I don't know if they are in the room, but I think it is important as we make this step into the future that we take a moment to recognize the visionaries of those who walked before us. And they are, raise your hand if you're here, Max Fraser, Deborah Holloway Thibodeau, Hazel Buffalo Road. Here's Hazel. Jim Logan and Malcolm Dawson. Finish chiefs to all of you. As Gord said, Shākāt means summer in southern Shoshone. And based on the fact that summer also brings about change and new growth, we should not be surprised that Shākāt has been selected as the publication these young people choose to revive. While the publication has been out of circulation for 25 years, it is still accessible at the Yukon Archives. It remains a valuable resource, and it is still utilized by researchers and teachers today. Nonetheless, we live in a fast-paced world where things are changing every day. We all know our young people see value in the past, and they recognize that growth and change is what is needed for the future. This is what makes these young people extraordinary leaders. And don't let anybody tell you any different. Many of the workers of the original Shākāt and Yukon Indian News, believe it or not, were youth themselves at one time. And we also all had a deep desire to take on the world and make our own contributions to society. This project is one example of how our young people can pick up the torch and take us into a new age, and at the same time meet their own objectives. I recognize, and it is my strongest belief, that by empowering our youth, we will also be providing opportunities and a chance for success, which they might not otherwise have. Whether it is sponsored or self-motivated, it is crucial we continue to support and invest in their visions, hopes, and dreams. The top concerns I hear from young people today and throughout my tenure as an elected official is their need for self-expression, their want for inclusion, and their desire to be heard. The work we are seeing here tonight is a welcome addition to making this a reality for our young people. It demonstrates the amazing things that can be achieved through collaboration and partnerships. And it is proven to be a great training ground for young people looking to explore media arts, both personally and professionally. So, we never know where our passions will take us, where opportunities will arise, and what can be achieved. And anyone who knows me also knows that I am a strong advocate for music and the arts. Just ride with me in my car. In all forms, including media arts. And I believe wholeheartedly in its abilities to break down barriers, and more specifically, in the healing powers it provides. So, when I saw the transformation that occurred in our city this summer, I don't know about you, but I sure felt inspired and empowered by the work our young people created. What is particularly inspiring about this summer is the youth took on the onus of making a meaningful difference themselves. In part, they worked with the elders, which made it even more special. They invited everyone and anyone who was interested to come and paint with them. Politicians like myself, city residents, their peers, tourists, and yes, our elders. That is another key component to this work undertaken by our youth this summer. Every project they undertook included elder participation. And we are only seeing a portion of that work here tonight. I even found out through a video on Facebook that some of our elders from the KDFN Kwanlundun Elders Day program jumped on their elders transit bus to join in the festivities. There is no price we could put on that exchange of information. The relationship building, and the love and laughter that was created in those moments. And I am particularly pleased our youth and elders have more surprises in store for us tonight. There is no doubt our young people have concerns and issues. But at the same time, youth are not problems that need to be solved. They're a valuable resource. They have ideas and thoughts that are important to them. But sometimes they struggle to articulate how they feel. Or they don't have the means to explore their doubts and questions as to what others might perceive the norm to be. I recently read an article being prepared by Cassis Lindsay. Is she here tonight? I'm going to point her out. She's back there with the Supergirl costume on or something. Cassis prepared this article for the Kwanlundun newsletter. She just happens to be a Kwanlundun citizen and a reporter trainee for the Shākāt Journal. I would like to take a few moments to read it to you, a portion of what she wrote, because she says it best. What this project means to these young people and what it can offer to others. Here's what she says. Our team includes over a dozen hardworking young people, a myriad of amazing ideas, and the common will to make our voices heard. We live as youth in a new technological age, filled with the same old problems that have been around forever. Though these demons try to drag us down, we have fought our way tooth and nail to the top. Most people on our team have had to fight against racism, sexism, and unfortunate circumstances. The Shākāt Journal is the best way for all of us youth to prove ourselves. And for many, the publication has helped us find our roots. It has grounded us and opened up a whole world of possibilities. Isn't that beautiful? Regrettably, and more often than anyone cares to admit, young people are viewed as being opposed to the society in which they live. But in reality, they are subjected to powerful social forces and peer pressure that continuously threaten to rob them of their potential. But we all know our young people are motivated by deeper interests. And if presented half the chance, they long most to play a meaningful role in society. They want to contribute to the world around them. And as I wrap up tonight, I would like to acknowledge a certain individual that would fall under the radar if he had his way, and that is Executive Director Lance Burton. Lance has tirelessly devoted his art, his music, and his soul and vulnerable people. He has walked the walk and not just talk the talk. And the youth of from all of us here, Mussy Cho Lance, for all that you do for our youth. And finally, it is imperative that our governments keep our youth engaged. They must feel included, valued, and important. Their views and opinions will not only give us deeper insight into their vision and desired path forward, it will allow for precious input into the work being developed today for a better tomorrow. With that said, tonight we are witnessing a shift in direction and expansion of vision between generations. It is a moment we feel great pride in. I thank you all for coming and sharing this journey with us. Mussy Cho.
Thank you very much for that most inspiring speech about the Yukon millennial potential. Thank you very much, Chief Dorsville. Next up, we have a music video that was written by a young man, Jeremy Linville, and collaborated with by his music buddy, Rebecca Law. And they wrote a pretty amazing song that goes along with the Shākāt Journal team, and it expresses all that Shākāt Journal is hoping to express in the coming years to all of its readership, both in the magazine itself and online. And are we ready for it? If we can dim the lights, please. The song is appropriately entitled The Millennial Anthem, and it's basically a shout out to all Yukon millennials and recognizes the power and the passion and the beauty and the acknowledgement that it is your turn to make changes in the Yukon. So without that, let's roll the tape.
Here in a small town where everything's good. Growing up in these Klondike neighborhoods, I look all around and I look by the woods on the trails, and I listen to the last of our ancestors' tales to remain in the few who become a bridge from the old to the new. We're living in this millennial age. It's giving us nothing but minimum wage. This change we're facing all across the nation, raising up with a whole new generation. Even if I live, it was weathered and tethered, we'll still be rocking our feathers. So put that in your peace pipe and keep it smoking, cause you can't fix what was never broken.
I'm a cast off, I'm proud of it, and I'm leaning to the light. I'm a blast off, igniting it, leading, taking flight. Oh yeah.
A digital megaphone, it's where it's at, and we call it a home. So let us bring it back with the facts flowing fast. A video edit's always up to the task. Written word returning, white pages black. Surfing the web with our digital masks. See us online, you ain't ever going back. Nope, never going back, just never going back.
I'm a cast off, I'm proud of it, and I'm leaning to the light. I'm a blast off, igniting it, leading, taking flight. Oh yeah.
The youth call you have a song. There's no singing it wrong. It's never too late to vent your hate on the paper related. Tie it on like a kid, take flight. I can see everyone's face from the clouds. Everyone's equal and proud everywhere. No need to escape or hide behind the drapes. No one's calling us down every day. Say it loud to a crowd. This is our millennial anthem, here and now. Say it loud and proud. This is our millennial anthem, here and now.
I'm a cast off, I'm proud of it, and I'm leaning to the light. I'm a blast off, igniting it, leading, taking flight. Oh yeah.
Didn't know they were that talented. Next up in our agenda is another video that we have, which I'm particularly proud of because he's been one of my best friends for many years. And I'm speaking, of course, about Mike Rudick and his family, Cherish, his son, Jet, and his big sister, Mariella. This summer we were fortunate to be able to go out to Cluckshoe. The first time I'd ever been to Cluckshoe in all the years that I lived here. And we got to witness an amazing ceremony that speaks to the real value of Yukon Aboriginal culture in the territory. And once you see the video, you can see just a little bit more insight into why Yukon Aboriginal people name their children this way. So up next, we have a selected honor.
Headstone Potlatch is always a celebratory potlatch, and in addition to being a celebration of life of Francis, it's also an opportunity for members of the same clan to also receive their traditional names.
So the next one we're going to see, this one is a new composition also from our group.
Traditionally, as First Nations people, as Indigenous people to this land, we always have culture and protocol. And part of your protocol as an Indigenous person is receiving your traditional name. So that was our family business, was to ensure that every member in our family has their traditional name.
So this name that we are going to give to Jet today is originally from Dave Hume, Doug K, which I received from my Uncle Dave, and now we get to share it with Jet as well. So I'm going to say the name and repeat after me. Doug K. Doug K. Doug K. Doug K. Doug K. There you go, new Doug K.
And I was really proud that my uncle Dave came and said a few words about where the name came from, how he had honored that name, and now he's passing it on to my little feller, and it's pretty exciting. He'll always carry that name now, and he'll be able to pass it on when he's older, and for me that's a really good feeling. And it was done properly. Everything was done nice.
So if you go on to the ShākātJournal.com, you'll see that this video is on the website, but also the website has been designed to be a multimedia website. So what happens is, while the video is up on the site and you can watch it, there's also a written story that goes along with it that you can read, which explains the ceremony in greater detail. And we also, as youth, they are taught to look after their elders. And so what they've also done is they've read out the story and put it into an audio file so that elders throughout the territory don't have to read the story, but they can simply click on the audio link and the story will be read to them. So we took a care in making sure that we could meet the elders' needs so that they could experience and visually and through audio the stories that are appearing on there. And so it's much like the old storytelling traditions around the campfire. You had somebody that told the story to you, maybe passed on some family business, some traditional teachings and stuff like that. So the youth decided that putting those audio files up was similar to the old way of passing on knowledge through verbal traditions. So we're very happy about that. The next video that we have for you, which also appears on ShākātJournal.com, notice how I'm plugging the website quite a bit, was produced by Alex Gattensby, or as he's more commonly known, River Gattensby. And this was an opportunity for Alex to get his geek on. And so he went and decided he was going to poll the recent UComicon that was held in Whitehorse earlier in the summer and ask a specific question. And so that question is getting answered tonight. Alex? Yes, and the video was also directed by our other Shākāt employee, Skylar Isaac, sitting in the back there. Raise your hand, Skylar.
Hello Yukon, I'm Alexander from the Shākāt Journal, and we're here at UComicon, which, after a year off, is back and better than ever. It's here that we've decided to seek the definitive answer of the age-old question, whose true answer has evaded mankind for as long as history can remember. Star Wars or Star Trek? But before we can get to the bottom of that, we need to know why this is the right place to find the answer. Let's go inside, shall we?
Welcome to UComicon 2017. We're back! Yeah!
I love UComicon. It's fantastic.
Oh, I've been involved 2 years.
And I've been involved for 3 years. This is where the experts in the subject material are. The subject matter. Star Trek versus Star Wars, but this is probably the best venue in Whitehorse right now to get those opinions.
I think just walk through the doors or point the camera through the doors and that's your answer.
Star Wars and Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Star Wars?
Star Wars!
Star Trek!
Star Wars for sure.
Star Trek.
One-on-one.
Unfortunately, my answer is Stargate.
Stargate?
Sorry.
Oh boy.
Star Wars.
Star Wars?
All the way.
Why can't they all just get along?
Star Trek. Star Wars. I'm a fan of Star Wars.
Star Trek.
Star Wars.
Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Awesome.
The Force.
Star Wars. Star Wars all the way.
Star Trek.
Star Trek's the best. Is there even a contest? I don't think so.
Stargate.
Star Wars.
1, 2, 3. Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
I like Star Wars mostly because I saw it first. So then Star Trek became really disappointing because my mom pitched it to me as, oh, well, it's like Star Wars. And the first thing I saw was an Enterprise episode where Picard just solves problems on the ship. I was like, no, there are no laser swords. This is terrible.
I like them both. Actually, I was a real Trekkie growing up and loved it. Reminds me a lot of my childhood. Trouble with Tribbles is one of my favorites. And Star Wars with my kids growing up, they were big into Star Wars. We have all the figurines and outfits and things like that. So I love them both.
Star Trek? Question mark.
What's that?
The prequels weren't so great, but DS9 still holds up occasionally.
There isn't much more of a comforting feeling than cutting open a giant pack animal and crawling inside.
I know.
So they both really get you right there, right in the cockles. But I grew up on Star Trek. It's a special place. My dad and I would sit down and watch Star Trek. He'd rest his beer on my head. It was good times. Father and son bonding.
And there you have it. The mecca of geekdom that is UComicon has spoken. Star Wars has emerged victorious in this fight to the death. However, this is just a brief sample of what our poll has to offer. If you'd like to learn more, be sure to check out my article at ShākātJournal.com. Thank you. Cool? Cool.
Well, Star Trek guy. Always have. And even though I got my butt kicked at UComic-Con, Star Trek's still the best. Before I go on, I want to draw your attention to the lovely prints that are around the room. They were created by Yukon artist Lorraine Wolf. They are for sale, and if you so like them, Lorraine, can you raise your hand? Lorraine is sitting in the audience, so if you get a chance after the presentation to look them over, I'm sure one of them will sell definitely. They're beautiful. Thank you, Lorraine. Yes, Ben has some prints out as well. Where are you, Ben? Ben, raise your hand. Oh, higher than that, buddy. So it says here that I'm supposed to give a project overview. The project overview is, or was supposed to be, just a simple 8-page mock layout of a magazine and what it could look like, and a feasibility study that would convince various levels of government whether or not Shākāt Journal was feasible to start again as a magazine. The purpose of the magazine was to target Yukon millennials and their issues. The original magazine was a summer edition which was targeted towards tourists, and it unveiled for tourists the different communities in the Yukon First Nations culture and heritage, languages, different places within the territory that they could visit and gain that on-the-land experience with Yukon First Nations. This time, however, Shākāt Journal was presented as a magazine that deals with Yukon millennial issues. Some of those issues being homelessness, some of those issues being health, mental health. In some cases, we even tackled the issue in the magazine of a sex trade that exists apparently in Whitehorse. Not many of us knew about it until we read about the report, and one of our reporters, Cassis Lindsay, took on this task and wrote a great report about the report of sexual industry in Whitehorse. The hope for the Shākāt Journal is that it will become a biannual publication of roughly 64 pages. There'll be a winter edition and a summer edition, and there will be an online version of the magazine that will roll over in content every 3 months. In this industry, we do have to sell advertising, but in our case, we chose a different model. Rather than, as you no doubt have seen in other magazines, they are chock full of advertising and then there's very little space for the content. We decided to take a different approach. We've created what is called an ad that's not really an ad. And if you see in the magazine in front of you, you see the sponsors of the magazine, you see their logos, you see the layout that in some cases duplicates, as in the case of Air North, their color structure for their logos. And you get to see a lot more about the pictures and the story than you would in a normal magazine. So we took the approach that we wanted to make this something that would be more pleasing to the readers so that they could see it and experience it on the page. But also what we've done for the sponsors is that they are able to get their corporate identification onto the magazine. They also have the ability to have their logos and their personal company links going back to their websites. And what we're able to give them for the amount that we're asking for is we give them much longer advertising exposure. So if you get involved in the biannual magazine, you get your company advertising and your company logos seen for up to 6 months, because the magazine rolls over every 6 months. Online, for sponsors, the ability is for them to have their links up, their logos up, their captions to the online stories, and that lasts for 3 months. Normally in magazine advertising or in newspaper advertising, when you buy an ad, it's there that day and it's gone the next. The ability of Shākāt Journal to be able to give the advertiser their best. So that's a brief overview of the magazine and how we intend to pay for it. We're also looking at different levels of government programs that can see the value in this magazine as it's being produced by Yukon Millennials, and we're hopeful that we will have very fruitful discussions with those groups in the coming days. Our next video that we have is of a Yukon musician. It was shot on the SS Klondike, and we want to give a big shout out to Parks Canada, who allowed us to film on the SS Klondike. And this one is quite interesting because the message here is all based on experience, but it's directed towards Yukon Millennials. So next up we have Driftwood Holly.
Hey, this is Driftwood Holly, and you're watching Shākāt Journal. I came here about 20 years ago following the Jeg London story, I would say, like the Call of the Wild thing, and I wanted to do my first alone trip, which for somebody from the middle of Europe, it's kind of, we're never alone. So that was a big deal for me to canoe the Yukon River, and then finding Dawson was magic, so I stayed. But when I started to tour and when I began to perform, I played bars for years, and nothing ever happened. Like, it was cheap gigs to people who didn't come there to listen. It's not that the people don't want to listen, they go to the bar to drink. It's not. It took me a long time. Actually, a friend pointed that out to me, that I play the wrong places. The music is okay, it's the wrong places you play. And then I changed this, and I really took a liking to have really beautiful and extraordinary and historic places, because they come with a vibe, and you play the same chord and it sounds different when you do this in the SS Klondike. So this made the audience really listen. We have chairs for them now, they sit and everybody's quiet, and I can tell my stories, and my gig just goes better, and it became a thing to play extraordinary places. It makes it easy for me because the place already talks. I think place really influences your music all the time, no matter where you go. So the Yukon is a very strong place, so I think all this filters into your daily behavior, and then this filters into your music. So it's a game changer when you change your country, when you change the surroundings. So the Yukon is very intense, so I think I would probably be safe to say it intensifies your music a lot. And it also gives you a lifestyle where you actually can play music. Like, it's up here the balance is more between what you like to do and what you have to do, not just what you have to do. So that frees up some time to get to know yourself a little better. Don't doubt yourself too much. It's like being on the brake all the time, and we all do it. We all do it, no matter how good you are or how bad you are. We always think we're a little worse than we actually are. And play a lot with others. And just, if it's your passion, then this is your job. Do it, it's working. If you do something you not really like doing, it's not gonna work. So, sometimes you have to, that's okay. That's like work time. But then you need to find your way out of this.
Before we move on, I wanted to bring your attention to the hallway, and you'll see outside, hanging off of the windows, some of the photos that were taken by Nishka, our photographer for the magazine. She does amazing work. Those photographs that are hanging, that are printed on cloth, are part of a silent auction. So once we've finished with the presentation, if you want to go by and fill out the silent auction forms there, perhaps you can take one of those most amazing photographs and hang it in your own home somewhere appropriate. I'd like to call up now the editor-in-chief of Shākāt Journal. I just wanted to tell a little story here. When we worked on the original Shākāt Journal, there was a young editor. Her name was Eileen Vance Duchesne, and she was 25 years old. And she ended up managing 3 publications out of Yesitu Communications, the original communications society that held the Shākāt Journal magazine. And she did a really great job. I mean, this is evidence of the work that she produced back in those days. And a big hand to Eileen for her past performance. It's fitting that the original editor is here tonight, and she's in a way handing over the reins to the new incoming editor. And we chose Paige Hopkins because she exemplifies the concern, the understanding of the millennial messaging that needs to be taking place. She herself is 26 years old, only a year older than Eileen when Eileen had the job, but she also cares. She cares a lot about the issue. She cares about the magazine and the website, and she's quite a lovely person to work for. I mean, she's my boss, and I gotta say, yes, boss. And this is the product that the new editor is able to bring about for all of you. So, without further ado, Paige Hopkins.
Shawnee Thon, to Elder Jackson for the prayer, and to Chief Bill for her words of wisdom and understanding. We have big boots to fill. Just over a year ago, I would have not expected to be standing here where I am now. So when Chief Bill referenced, never knowing where our passions will take us, when opportunities will arise, and what can be achieved, is the truth. My journey to this point in my career has not been a long one, and I know I still have much to learn. Shortly before starting this project, I completed the one-year multimedia communications program at Yukon College. And with no real work experience in this field, I was unsure what the future would hold for me. Luckily, I got hired here. Prior to entering the multimedia program, my computer was simply used as a Facebook and YouTube machine. And perhaps for an assignment or to Google something, as we all do. But today, my computer is my greatest tool. And it helps me to perform the never-ending tasks required for what I hope to be a long and creative career. say I came to this job armed with all the knowledge and skills needed to deliver. What you will be seeing here tonight, and what you have already seen, is definitely took teamwork and a collective determination unlike anything I have ever seen before. And the youth of today's society ensured that we had the support of elders, instructors, and mentors, not to mention the lessons we shared with them and what we learned from each other. We received additional one-on-one training from professional instructors. We participated in team building exercises and workshops, and expressed ourselves openly and respectfully at youth roundtable discussions. In a nutshell, we were not only inspired, we were empowered. And every artistic ability and technical skill we had in us was put to use. The Shākāt project demonstrates that when you put a group of young people in the room, all multi-talented, armed with a vision, and a determination to invoke change, anything is possible. The Shākāt project is all-inclusive and open to all. Over time, it is our intention to reach out to every Yukon community and beyond. We want our publication to have something for everyone. But most of all, we want our peers to see it and say, yeah, this speaks to me, this inspires me, and at the same time allows them not to feel so alone and hopeless. And as a young editor, I want to continue to help my peers attain their goals and pursue skills that build on their passions. Because to me, passion equals hope, which is one thing I see lacking in my peers. I am sure when all is revealed, you will all agree. Each page of this magazine is smothered in our passion. It is wrapped in our technical skill, and it is a product of hope for our generation and generations to come. And when we said in our Facebook teaser, we were the new millennial megaphone, we were not joking. Before I finish off this speech, I would like to pass on some acknowledgements and thanks. To the elders who came to this event and who have shown their support and excitement for this project. To all the dignitaries and community leaders for their interest and understanding of the Shākāt's importance. To all of the writers and innovators that came before me and away at East Satu. My instructors at Yukon College, without whom I would not have the skills to begin with. My exceptionally creative coworkers, everyone, put your hand up, who tolerate me, I mean encourage me. And finally, I want to thank Lance and Gord, who have been my teachers, my friends, and my most enthusiastic cheerleaders since I first met them, and my mom. Thanks, Mom. Now we can sit back and relax and recover from this adrenaline rush, from all our deadlines, and reflect on the beauty of our work, just like our mentors said we would. But our true reward in the end is that we've got the job done. We succeeded in our mission, and we're here tonight to share it with you. I believe the real future of the Yukon relies on the creative minds of my fellow millennials, and through the technological devices and modern technologies available to us, we are able to share our unique northern voice with you and the rest of the world. Some would argue that only in the Yukon can you experience a true golden moment, and to me, this is one of them. So I truly hope you enjoyed this evening, and thank you for joining us on this project.
Wow. I didn't expect to be named in this, but Thank you. Thank you very much, Paige. We have another video here that in many ways speaks to what Paige is saying she wants to achieve with Shākāt Journal. By the way, it's shakatjournal.com for those of you out there. This is a video that was put together with Cassis Lindsay and Alex Gatmosby and other members of the Shākāt team, and it's called Medallions of Hope. Medallions of Hope. I just want to say a few words. I've known Lance Burton for many years. I've known of him. But I never really got to know him until he called me up and asked me if I wanted to be the project coordinator for Shākāt Journal. And thankfully he was encouraged to do so by my old editor, Eileen Vance Duchesne. She said, if you want the job to get done good, call Gord. And so he did. And through the 8 weeks that we've worked together, and we've worked together many nights, long nights, no days off, 8 weeks to pull together this presentation that we're proud to unveil to you. Because we got to be able to work with some amazing kids who are so talented, so dedicated, and so deserving of your respect and admiration. But that comes from a certain individual who has the ability to reach inside their souls and turn on a light. So, Lance, this video is for you.
Yes.
On my walkabout, I could hear the people's thoughts. I was shining.
I guess it's in my nature to try to find a way to make sure it's identified and find a way to help, do my part and help.
Well, the old man reaches out before I could shake his hand. I said, oh.
This society started in 1999. I joined it in 2000. 6 months after this.
And the women like to dance and sing to the fires and the drums. And the people crying out to the night lights they are flying. I said, oh.
Some I lost, quite a few lost. A lot of kids in jail. Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Yeah, sure. Now you make her stop.
Cause I've seen it all. I've been that small.
years I've known him, it hasn't been that way. He's got this unique way of caring for other people, you know. It's also fun to work with him.
He basically is the one that showed me I'm able to follow my dreams. I'm able to make it do what I want to do.
He's always been there for me. Every time I need help or anything, he's never, said he can't.
He's a very accepting guy. But yeah, he gave me a huge opportunity by helping me do what I do.
Because he's very positive. He has a very great outlook on life, and I think, you don't even need, I can't really need to explain it. Like, he knows how to do it right.
Let's do that.
Come on up here, lads. Come on. Come on. Last word, everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Alvin. I did not expect it. Thank you, Alvin.
God, he was pretty yappy yesterday. So that brings it to a close, but before we close, we have one more special treat for you. As you saw earlier in the presentation, the Millennial Anthem. Well, we have both Jeremy Linville and Rebecca Law. We're going to perform it one more time for you, live. Jeremy, Rebecca.
Hey, so my name is Jeremy Linville, aka Telltown Habit. I got a lot of stage fright, so I get nervous easy up here, but I'll try my best.
Just before we end this song, we want to invite the Shākāt team, all of the Shākāt team, to come up with us and do the end chant with us. So Jeremy will signal you to come up, right? All right. Okay. Got it?
I actually probably forgot the story of the song. Sorry, just 1 second.
All right, we're good. I think.
Jeremy's used to me saying, "You're fired." Every day.
We're doing this and every day, and this is where we have a say. We're doing this and every day, and this is where we have a say. Here in a small town where everything's good. Growing up in these Klondike neighborhoods, I look all around and I look by the woods on the trails, and I listen to the last of my ancestors' tales to remain in the few who become a bridge from the old to the new. We're living in this millennial age. It's giving us nothing but minimum wage. This change we're facing all across the nation, raising up with a whole new generation. Even if our land is wet and intelligent, we'll still be rocking our feathers. So put that in your peace, I can keep it smoking, cause you can't fix what was never broken. I'm proud of it, and I'm leaning to the light. I'm a blessed star, igniting it, leading, taking flight. Oh yeah. This is Shākāt, a digital megaphone. It's where it's at. We call it a home, so let us bring it back with the backs flowing fast. A video where it's always up to the task. Written word returning, white pages black. Surfing the web with our digital masks. See us online, you ain't ever going back. No, never going back. I'm proud of it, and I'm leaning to the light. I'm a blessed star, igniting it, leading, taking flight. Oh yeah. Listen to the youth of the Yukon. You have a song, there's no singing it wrong. It's never too late to bend shit hate on the paper and lay it. Tie it on like a cake, take flight. I can see everyone's fate from the clouds. Everyone's equal and proud everywhere. No need to escape. Well, how calling us down? Sing it loud to the crowd. This is our millennial anthem. Say it loud and proud. This is our millennial anthem. Here and now. I'm a blessed star, I'm proud of it, and I'm leaning to the light. I'm a blessed star, igniting it, leading, taking flight. Oh yeah. Hey ah, hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey. One more time. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Shākāt Journal. So we have a live performance by BDYS, and after that we'll be going into the entertainment portion of the evening where we will be having a dance party hosted and led by DJ KJ. So thank you everybody for coming out. It was a pleasure. We hope that we can rely on your continued support in the future. And remember, what is that website again? ShākātJournal.com. Be there or be square.